Hello and welcome to all top 5s. Pokemon Go has got people hunting the creatures all over again, this time in the real world, and within a couple of weeks of launch, players have been finding themselves in some absolutely absurd situations. Love the game? Then take note and avoid situations like these. Hate the game? Well, have a good laugh at the ridiculous situations ahead. Number 5. In Wiltshire UK, 4 teenage boys were exploring for Pokemon to catch and clearly pushed their luck a little too far. They wound up entering a cave network deep underground known as the box mines in pursuit of the digital creatures that lay within. Unfortunately, the box mines complex is just that, complex, with over 70 miles of winding cave passageways, and the boys found themselves completely lost and without GPS or a map to guide them out. After being lost for quite some time, up to 100 feet underground, they got to one junction that they said miraculously had phone signal as it was open air, and they called the local fire and rescue service. Once they had been rescued, the boys admitted that they felt glum and embarrassed, and hopefully learned their lesson about the line where they should stop chasing Pokemon. Number 4. Speaking of knowing where to draw the line while catching Pokemon, the police department of the city of Deauville in the USA have done just that. In Pokemon Go, there are places called Pokestops that correspond to real-world places of interest, and they're good places to get items, experience, and potentially more Pokemon, and often they're in some dodgy places. One of these is Deauville Police Station, and with the huge uptake of the game, people from across the neighbourhood were flocking to the location in great numbers. I'll let the police department's Facebook statement speak for itself. One way of not playing smart is to go creeping around the Deauville Police Department. We have had some people playing the game behind the PD in the dark, popping out of bushes, etc. This is high on our list of things that are not cool right now. Do not lurk around the PD at any hour while you are playing Pokemon Go. An officer should not be placed in a situation where people are hiding in the dark when he needs to get to his patrol car a few feet away. It's a hilarious image, people hiding in bushes and popping out in the middle of the night, but it's also a fairly dudish response to some pretty dumb behaviour really, and I respect that. Number 3. Now, taking Pokemon Go players' involvement with the police to a new level, we head to Baltimore, USA. Police officers were finishing up a patrol when they were shocked by the actions of one late-night player. They were wearing body cameras, so they caught the whole thing on film. Here's the footage from Baltimore Police.
You okay?
Okay. What's the location?
2901 Houston Avenue.
The cars were pretty heavily smashed, but luckily no one was injured. It turns out the driver had been paying more attention to his phone than the road, and was actually hunting for Pokemon when the collision occurred. He even held up his phone immediately to show the police what the problem had been. Police have been issuing statements advising players not to play while driving, or even cycling or skateboarding, and this footage shows exactly why that's important. It could have been a whole lot worse. Number 2. In Orlando, Florida, 2 teenage Pokemon Go players got themselves into a situation much more dangerous than even a level 600 Poliwrath could pose. It was late at night and the guys were playing the game in their car looking for nocturnal Pokemon. It just so happened that they were parked outside the house of someone who was up and watching them with suspicion. Eventually, the man asked them to leave the area outside his house, and the teenagers refused. Presumably, they'd used a lure to attract Pokemon to the location. The man reappeared with a gun and fired at them as they drove away, giving the car a flat tyre. So it turns out the man believed they were burglars because of their refusal to leave, but mainly because of a hilarious misunderstanding. As he'd been spying on the pair, he heard one of them say, "Did you get anything?" No one was hurt, luckily, but just embarrassed. Number 1. This has to be the most idiotic. 2 men playing Pokemon Go in San Diego were trying to catch the creatures with a bit too much enthusiasm. A call came into the fire department early in the afternoon requesting help, and the crew rushed out immediately. The lifeguard who had called them reported that a man had managed to walk off a cliff in broad daylight. It turned out that both Pokemon Go players had stumbled to the cliff edge and then simply continued to walk over the edge in a bid to catch Pokemon. As unbelievable as this is, both men survived with injuries though, despite being both unconscious, one 50 feet down the cliff and one about 90 feet down the cliff. They were taken to hospital, and although the extent of their injuries isn't known, it's unbelievable that they survived. It's even more unbelievable that both of them together managed to completely ignore a fenced-off section of high, dangerous cliff edges in order to pursue digital creatures in a smartphone game. Ugh. And that's it from All Top Fives for this week. It's amazing the lengths some people go to catch Pokemon, and there are many other ridiculous stories and accidents being reported every single day. Next week, I'm going to get back to some spookier, darker topics, and I'll be exploring the world of traditional Japanese ghost stories. Prepare to shiver. Let me know what you thought of these in the comments, but also let me know if you've seen anything or you've done anything ridiculous in a bid to catch Pokemon. Just remember to be polite and considerate, even if we're talking about being idiots. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and you can subscribe for a new video every single Tuesday. So, peace and love to each and every one of you, and I'll see you all next time on All Top Fives.